This is the You, Me, and BTC podcast.
Cryptocurrency decrypted.
Welcome to episode 85. First up this week, we're sharing some thoughts about the significant amount of personal information that Bitcoin exchanges collect. Some people even think they have more stringent KYC measures than banks. As much as we hate this kind of surveillance, we'll explain why we still don't really blame companies like Coinbase and BitPay. Then later in the show, we'll share some news about a white hat hacker who is planning to publicly release a powerful brain wallet cracker. We'll touch on why brain wallets can be insecure, how you can store your coin more safely, why it's a good thing to make hacking tools like this public, and much more. Your hosts today are Tim Baker, John Stuart, and myself, Daniel Brown. Here we go. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the You, Me, and BTC podcast. Another regular Thursday show. Glad to have you. We got some fun stuff planned for today. Holy crap, Tim's making a ton of noise, which I'll probably cut, but just so you know,
That was me.
Yeah, blame me, Daniel.
All right.
Please. I'm not the alcoholic in this
I was going to say that you don't need to hear the noise. I'll cut it, but you just have to know that he's a failure at life, which is true even if he didn't make noise.
I make lots of noise.
Anyway.
See, I made that noise without even opening a bottle. It just kind of comes out of me when I sit here and don't do anything.
I am Daniel Brown, and I'm here with
Tim Baker.
And John Stuart.
So, on the docket for today, we have a story about Coinbase and kind of like KYC. They're asking for a lot more information than you would expect, which they've been doing for a while, but we're going to talk about it and an article that has some thoughts on it. And brain wallets. I've kind of been fascinated by brain wallets in the past. I think it would be useful to have one just because it could never be hacked. Oh, well, not hacked. It could be guessed, but it couldn't be stolen necessarily. And mostly I'm talking about law enforcement. But they have torture and stuff. So I don't know. But anyway, we'll get to that. There's a guy that's created a brain wallet cracker, not the kind that you can eat. I mean, you could probably put peanut butter on it, but it probably wouldn't taste that good. Anyway, and he's releasing a cracker, which is pretty fast, and obviously that means that brain wallets might be less secure. We'll get into all that pretty soon. But first of all, we got a pretty cool sale over at Bitcoin Not Bombs, and I'm going to let John share. No. Who?
Just keep on messing up the name. Apparently Daniel's gotten to the point where he doesn't really see the need of calling his co-host by the real name anymore.
Yeah.
But what Daniel's trying to say is there's a sale over at bitcoinnotbombs.org. We've had some connection with these guys before with, I forget what the contest was called, but it was Memes for Peace or Peaceful Memes.
Don't Expose Evil was...
Don't Expose Evil, yeah. In response to something that Google did. But right now, bitcoinnotbombs.org, that's their website where they sell their merch. They sell... Are they still doing the promotion where if you buy a t-shirt...
The hoodie one. I think they sold out of hoodies ages ago. I think.
Well, anyway, this is a clearing out sale, so they give out discounts to people, but we have a 15% discount for listeners of the show, or if you want to cheat and tell someone else. Because then it still looks like it's a listener from our show, and that's all that really matters to us.
Yeah.
The code for that is YMB15. Again, YMB15. Is that uppercase, right?
I don't think it matters.
Okay. I never knew if those things do. Half the time, those things don't work for me in things like that. When you get like 10%, 15% off.
It depends where you get them from.
Yeah.
If you just Google for them, they're usually expired or something. But anyway, this one shouldn't be expired. They have the clearance sale, which is normally 10% off, but yeah, 15, get a little extra. And Tim, maybe you should buy the T-shirt that you lost and the hat that you lost.
I already got a hat. I already got a T-shirt. I still have the T-shirt. I wore the T-shirt yesterday because I got that for free for complaining.
Yeah. Yeah, but
I should probably buy a hat, or maybe you should just give it back to me.
Wait, what do you mean? I don't have it.
Oh, sure.
All right, I do. Fine.
So, yeah, go over and support them. They're trying to clear out some of there's T-shirts. Are they trying to get new stuff in, or are they just doing away with it?
My guess will be new stuff, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, yeah, go over, support them, save a little bit of money, and get some cool-looking gear.
Yeah, and
so
and actually,
look all cool for everybody on the street.
This
people go, why are there bombs falling out of a plane? Well, it's money. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, neither does your stupid affliction one. So I really don't want to hear it.
Yeah, so this episode will go out on August 13th. It's a Thursday, but actually in the live show on the 12th, we're going to mention it too. So maybe you already heard this, but a reminder, get over there. Cool. All right, so I guess we're going to start with the Coinbase article and KYC, and I'm going to get the name right this time because it is John who's going to take this. So go for it, John.
All right. This is an article from Inside Bitcoins called Coinbase Asking for More Information Than Banks. It has a question mark at the end.
I was wondering why you did that.
But,
Banks?
yeah, it has a question mark. Shut up.
What are these banks?
Anyways.
Bonks?
No, that's the French way, Tim.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay, I can actually go now. So the article is basically just saying that Coinbase seems like they ask more information than regular banks do, and this is probably turning people off from Bitcoin. They do ask for quite a bit of information. I don't know if it's more than banks. I can't remember exactly what all banks ask for, but
yeah, I have one bank account, and I made it years ago, so I don't really remember what all I had to give up to open it. But, I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, ID, social security number, that would all be completely normal information to surrender at a bank, I would imagine. So, yeah, I'm sure they need lots. Birthday, all that.
I'm trying to read, because on this article that we're looking at, it has a copy of an email, I believe, that someone got from them when they asked them about their regulations. And it says, describe the primary use of your Coinbase account. Describe
they did that to me before. I mean, not when I signed up, but they sent me an email and they're like, can you tell us what you do with Coinbase? I'm like, no?
No. It also says describe it's hard kind of.
Oh yeah, they have, is it like that? They have like a zoomed out, like really tiny screenshot.
Yeah, it's kind of like you couldn't get a little bit better than this, but I think it says describe the originating source of your incoming Bitcoin transfers.
Yeah, I'm sure this is probably the exact same email that I got. Describe the primary use, describe the originating source for your incoming transfers, detail the specific sources of funds for your purchase of Bitcoins. So it's like, are you employed? Like, where do you get all that money? Are you selling drugs? Oh, no, you didn't. And then.
Because we'll go to jail for it, I guess, is what they're probably doing it for.
Well,
they don't want to end up like Shrem.
Yeah, I don't know if the rich Coinbase people would go to jail. They'd just pay a fine, probably, but the government's happy with that, too, so. And then the last one is help us understand the nature of your outgoing transfers. What services are they related to? Are you sending money to the Silk Road? Oh, no, you didn't.
Hookers on Backpage?
Hookers on Backpage, yeah, they might want to know that, too.
I mean, so, do they need verification of all of these?
Not really. At least in my experience, that I gave some kind of answers, and they didn't ask for verification. They just shut me down. So, I mean, maybe if I gave them verification of something legit, I mean, I'm sure that would help my case, but I don't want to do that. So, this might be another episode. I did this, I think, during last week's live show. I might have to say, like, hello to the jury who's listening to this recording in a year or two when I'm in court. they're going to be playing this and saying like, you see, he was afraid to say where he was getting the money from. And so if anybody's out there listening to this, what's up, jury? Read up on jury nullification.
I don't think thought crimes come in yet, except for hate crimes. The only thought crimes right now are hate crimes.
I was just reading an article about that. Except it's not hate crime, it's microaggressions.
Anyway, they do say they'll give you a Dropbox folder, or you can reply with PGP, so you can encrypt your response. And I'm sure they promise they won't tell anyone ever, and they won't ever get hacked. So as long as you encrypt it, you'll be good.
I wouldn't be too hard on that point, because I mean, would you rather them not offer that at all?
Okay, yeah, decent. All right, I'll take that.
I mean, most people don't say that in emails.
Yeah, that's true. Like, if your bank sent you an email like that, I'm sure like 90% of the people who got that email would be like, PGP, poking gay people? What? Okay. Ouch.
Daniel's always...
We really need like a
comic
car accident
relief
sound for this thing.
Yeah.
We need a laugh track is what we need.
Daniel like, oh, I'm so smart.
Or cricket noises.
That's even better.
Cricket noises. I hate cricket noises.
No, I like that better because that's exactly what I deserve, Tim.
No, I don't. Cricket noises are
so,
annoying.
Tim, are you saying it was a good
so
joke?
are laugh tracks. I think laugh tracks are more annoying.
That's why I want a car crash, because it reminds me of someone getting hurt, and that's what I want to happen to Daniel.
So here's a question. One thing, I guess, that I'm not completely sold on is that banks wouldn't ask for this information. Like, I mean, I think this is information. Like, I could see banks asking for this all day long. Like, where's your income coming from? Well, I guess they wouldn't ask so much where are you spending money because they can see it every time you make a transaction. So that's not as big a deal. But asking about your job, like, why would a bank not ask for that, right?
Yeah, I feel like banks have asked for that. The other thing is also that in the U.S., Bitcoin is not treated as a currency legally. And also, Coinbase is not in bed with the government like banks are. Those two things combined, just like, I can't help but think that it's not just like Coinbase's choice to do. It's definitely not their choice to do all this.
There's a comment at the very bottom of the page that says that Coinbase replied to somebody on something and said that Coinbase has responded to us regarding its reasoning for its information requirements, saying that we are required by law to request extra info for high-volume customers, high volume. This is the EDD part of KYC. I don't know what EDD means, but I'll let you look that up.
But yeah, like, they're
doing it to cover their asses. I mean,
yeah,
I can't fault them for it.
And like I said, not only are they doing things similar to a bank, but they're not in bed with the government, like I said. But it's also Bitcoin stuff, which is, I mean, we cover something that seems like almost every week about somebody getting sent to prison or sued or whatever or arrested. Like, they obviously don't like Bitcoin, and it's not treated the same way. It's not treated as a currency by law, so it makes it a lot more difficult to not get screwed. Yeah,
so what you're saying is that they're doing this just because the government says they have to, right? And so...
And even if it's not that they have to do every specific thing that they're doing, it's because they're being careful.
Right. And that's one thing that, obviously, if you've been listening to the show, you know that we're not huge fans of the state. And in general, we don't like regulation, of course. Not many people do. But that doesn't mean that you have to intentionally and go out of your way to disobey the regulations or to break the regulations. It kind of depends on your situation. In a lot of cases, I don't have a problem. If you want to try and go the back way and do it without the government, more power to you. But I also don't have a huge problem with a company like Coinbase saying that, listen, we don't like it either, but this is how we're going to survive. This is how we're going to make more money. So that's what we're going to do. It's annoying, but at least it's not intolerable as of yet. I mean, at least we still can sell you Bitcoin, and then from there you can do whatever you want with it. Well, no, that's not true. They're asking what you're doing with it, so they might not let you do whatever you want with it. But still, I mean, they're complying, and I'm not a huge fan of following regulations all the time, but I also don't have a big problem with it, because I do that when I have to too, all the time, because I don't want to go to prison and I don't want to get fined. I don't want my money stolen from me. So I don't know. Do you guys agree with any of that?
Yeah, and I'd also say, well, I don't know what the consequences of Coinbase doing something that the government doesn't like and the government stepping in, but they could be protecting their customers as well, because like I said, I don't know what would happen if the government were to step in for some reason. And for a company like Coinbase that has so many users and so much traffic through it, I feel like they almost have to be more careful.
Are you saying that they're protecting their customers because if the government were to step in, any money in Coinbase could disappear or freeze up, and then the customers would be the ones that are out?
Yeah.
So, for the most part, I think that would be difficult. I mean, it is true that didn't that happen with the Liberty Dollar, right? They kind of raided the warehouse and a bunch of silver disappeared and people lost out. So yeah, that kind of thing can happen. But I think in most cases, they know the customer's money is the customer's money, and they try to go after Coinbase. And even with all the annoying government stuff and the legalese, I think for the most part that the funds are your funds, and everybody should know that. And so if, like, let's say that Coinbase got fined for, say, $100 million, I don't think that they would let them take that out of customers' funds. But who knows? I could be completely wrong, but at least technically, I don't think that should happen.
Yeah, I'm talking, I guess, less about the dollar than the Bitcoin, because that tends to be the thing that seems like that gets seized more often.
What? The dollar?
No, Bitcoin. Like, I get what Daniel was saying. Yeah. 'Cause if they fine them, yeah, they're not going to be taking stuff out of people's accounts to pay for a fine. But I'd be more worried about, like, all the Bitcoin that's in there, and the government just says, well, this is Bitcoin, we're just going to take it all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's normally what you hear, like, when someone who's selling it, even just as a exchange or as an unlisted exchange, or if they are doing other illegal activities with it, they normally end up losing a decent amount of Bitcoin with it. Even if you're not, like, doing it through Coinbase or something like that, they'll kind of just take it. And I don't know if it's out of just wanting to just take it and take your wealth, like they'd seize something else, or if it's just because it's not technically, like, it's not treated as a currency right now, that they just don't care about it. But yeah, you're not going to get it back, probably.
Yeah. I mean, and especially, I mean, that is what happened with the Silk Road and probably some other sites like it, where the government just kept they were customers and vendors. The government just kept their money after they took it out of the Silk Road. So that's one comparison. But I think a difference is that Coinbase, at least, well, and I guess this is what we're saying, like, they're protecting their customers because they do comply. And because they're sort of trying to please the government, then the government will be less likely to just suddenly lock up a bunch of money like they did with the Silk Road. And I think everyone would agree that it's safer to keep your money in Coinbase than in the Silk Road, right?
Yeah, it's don't do that.
Yeah. I was going to say that I think it's just the price of doing what Coinbase is doing, because they are such a big exchange. And I think having big exchanges is a good thing, because it legitimizes it a little bit. And for people who don't necessarily want to be super, like, hands-on and get really into their stuff, it's easier, or it's more similar to banks and stuff like that. I think it's good to have something like Coinbase, and I think this is kind of just the price that you have to pay for it, at least right now.
I think I completely agree. I have just as a little bit of extra information. This is not in the email that we were just reading in the article, but it is in the email that I received, and it kind of explains why they do some of this regulation. FinCEN guidance, this is a quote, FinCEN guidance states that this is a quote within a quote, a person is an exchanger and a money transmitter if the person accepts such decentralized convertible virtual currency from one person and transmits it to another person as part of the acceptance and transfer of currency, funds, or other value that substitutes for currency. That's the end of the quote within a quote, but it's still a quote. As such, accepting Bitcoin from Coinbase and then reselling to another person is considered money transmission per FinCEN. Money transmission is an inherently high-risk business and is heavily regulated. Coinbase...
It's highly regulated because it's dangerous, Daniel. Just remember, it's not about them making money. It's because you might mess up and do something bad to yourself.
Yeah, it's really dangerous for me to send you money. Like, who knows? It could spontaneously combust. I mean...
Wait, did it say dangerous or did it say risky?
It's at high risk, I guess. But...
Yeah, I thought of that more as like financial risk than...
Yeah, it's still protecting you from something.
But what if it's risky? If it's that risky, then I wouldn't be doing it. So
it's that you're not going to be able to do it because you're retarded, Daniel, and you might not get your money back, or you might not send me the right amount of money.
Aren't you the one that's like addicted to gambling? I wouldn't say that you wouldn't do something that's high risk.
Did you hear that laugh?
No, I just think you guys are reading into it a little bit too much.
Yeah, I am. I'm just making comments, but most of Daniel's betting isn't high risk.
Well, that's true. I never bet more than like a few cents or a few bucks.
You're not like an exciting gambler to watch. I don't want someone who could lose their life in the next couple minutes.
Yeah. No, but here, my point was just that it should be my decision, not theirs. Like, I get to decide if it's too risky or not, and so you don't have to regulate it. Thank you very much. Maybe next time. But anyway, the next sentence...
but I don't think it's not them that's regulating it.
It's not Coinbase, you're right. It is the government. And that is actually, the next sentence is pretty helpful. It says, Coinbase has elected not to facilitate money transmission activities via these services. So they elected not to do it. They could have figured it out, maybe. They could have gotten, I don't know if you would need more licenses, or maybe they are just plain allowed to do it, but they elected not to, and that's... it's okay, I guess. I mean, it's a decision that they made, and it's still a relatively helpful service, so...
It's not like it's just them doing it either. There's another copy of an email that someone posted on the Bitcoin subreddit, and it's from BitPay, and they're mentioning, this person runs an online web store, and they're commenting that they need to go back onto their BitPay account, change their tier, like where they're going to be placed in the tier system for how much business they're doing, or what exactly, like to specify what they're doing, and then depending on that, they're going to have to put in more information. So that's not even from a buyer's side, that's just to use it. So you can complain about Coinbase, but any Bitcoin exchange that is trying to keep itself pretty much safe and look legit is going to probably go with these measures, because if they don't, they're going to get come down hard on by the government.
Are you tired of Bitcoin dice and ready for something different? Try LuckyBit, the original falling coin game, at luckybit. It's the most exciting Bitcoin game on the web. You can bet on 5 different payout lines and win up to 999 times your bet. You can even use their faucet to get some free Bitcoin. Dice is boring. Play different at LuckyBit. Check it out at luckybit. So the next article that we want to cover is kind of an interesting one. I guess I mentioned it at the beginning. It's about a BrainWallet cracker, which you're not supposed to eat. Yes, I'm going to use that joke again, and there might be crickets there, so... So this is Actually, it's posted on rya.nc, and it says Ryan Castellucci's blog. I don't know who that is. I don't know what he does. It's not like a whole giant news website. It's just one little blog, but still some interesting information. He says that on August 7th, I will be giving a talk at DEF CON about brain wallets. As part of that talk, I will be releasing a fast brain wallet cracker. I'm writing this to provide a little insight as to why I'm giving away a tool that could be used to steal. I also hope that people who are currently using brain wallets will take notice and move to a more secure storage method. So, yeah, it's interesting, and especially his decision to just make it public, which I don't disagree with, but it is interesting to think about why. But I guess we should talk about DEF CON first. I've heard the name before, and I might have been able to guess before today that it was some sort of computer or hacking convention. But other than that, I really don't know much about it. Do either of you have any idea what all goes down at these places? In my head, this is mostly just the fact that it's a hacking convention. That brings up, like, the vision of, like, a bunch of nerds in, like, hoodies and, like, just sitting at their computers typing away for hours and hours on end. And you know, hacking websites, obviously. But anyway, I don't know. Do you guys know anything about it?
Not much, besides, like, I've pretty much just looked at their website. I've heard about it before. It seems like it started out as a party. I think it's less, I think, serious than conference might imply, but it's still not, like, all out crazy.
Just from my experience with conferences, it seems like a lot of them have a pretty decent party aspect to them, which I'm not opposed to at all. But yeah, you might be right. It might be just like, you know, if I actually was good at coding, and if I could hack websites, and if I could build brain wallet crackers overnight, yeah, I'd want to hang out with other people that do that and try to make stronger, better, faster programs, I guess. I'll pick up a little bit more of this article. By my estimates, a single day, that's in italics, a single day should be more than enough for a botnet to check every possible 8-character ASCII password and XKCD style passphrase against every Bitcoin address, that's also in italics, every Bitcoin address that has ever received funds. And this is interesting. There are already people cracking brain wallets, but it's unclear exactly what their capabilities are. So my biggest concern here, I don't know if it would really be a concern, but something I'm thinking about. Why would anybody use a brain wallet that's less than 8 characters? If it was me, I feel like I would want like an entire sentence or something. I mean, less than 8 characters? Like, I feel like, of course, that could be hacked in less than a day. I mean, yeah, there's a ton of combinations. I don't know. What do you...
Isn't that what you said? Or I thought you had mentioned that to me a while ago, maybe a few years ago, that once it gets past 8, for whatever reason, it jumps up quite a bit, that it's then out of the realm of possibility for it to be cracked, like, very, very quickly.
I don't remember saying that stuff, but it's just an exponential thing. I mean, let's say, this is probably conservative, but let's say you used 26 letters and 10 numbers. An 8-character passphrase, then, it would be 36 to the 8th, which shows 2.8 times 10 to the 12th. And what is 12 zeros? Like, what, 2.8 trillion? Yeah. And that's a lot, although even that, though, I feel like a computer could handle that in an hour, you know? So, first of all, if you're using an 8-character brain wallet, don't put much money in there and don't expect it to stay there. If you just want to see if it gets hacked ever, just for fun, like whatever, try it out. But don't actually use it. Please don't. Like
Or
even
use it, but just don't keep all your money in one wallet.
Don't even use it for day to day, because at 8 characters, I'm telling you, it will get hacked. So don't even use it for day to day. The only use I could see is just for fun, just to see if it gets hacked or how quickly it gets hacked. So, and I probably would have said that even before I read this article, honestly. Like, 8 characters is nothing. It's a little different with a password because it's harder to check passwords. I mean, if you're on a website and you're just trying to type in all the different combinations, even if you have a bot do it, you got to wait for pages to load. You got to wait for the website to respond and tell you if it was the correct password. Now, you could hack the website and download the hashes of the password, but that's extra work. And so it's a little different than a password. But even then, an 8-character password is still, not great. So, in my opinion. I don't know, but I don't know a ton about how brain wallets work. If you could use a sentence, I think that would be a decent idea because it would be memorable, but there are a lot more words than there are letters and numbers, obviously. So if you could make a sentence, tell some kind of weird story, I don't know. I think that would work. What kind of sentence would you guys make a brain wallet? What is something that you would have some way of remembering, but nobody else really would? I mean, it's kind of like for a password. Theoretically, you could easily remember your birthday, but it would be easy for somebody else to figure that out too. So let's say you were going for a sentence. What is something that you could remember and other people couldn't really? I don't know.
Dude,
any ideas?
Why would you do a sentence? People used to, I'm thinking of folk ballads. People used to recite the Odyssey or the Iliad.
Oh, so you're saying even longer. Oh, man.
I'm talking about an epic poem.
All right, yeah.
No one's going to hack the Iliad.
Memorize the, I don't know, what is it, the Quran or the Torah or something? Don't some people memorize that stuff? So, yeah, maybe you could. Write an entire, I don't know though, because the thing is, if you miss one word, it's not going to work. So, and especially when you're memorizing the Odyssey, you can check it and you can see how well you're doing and how much you're remembering and when you get a word wrong. But if you're trying to memorize something that's only in your head, you might have to be a seance or something.
I don't know. All that kind of stuff was traditionally done orally. And they say typing it in is one thing because you can make all kinds of mistakes just doing that, even if you remember it correctly. But they say that, human capacity for long-term memory is unlimited. So.
Okay, yeah, pretty crazy. Maybe you could do it. Maybe that's the solution to, the actual way to keep your coins secure. I don't know if I would say that, just because I wouldn't trust my memory. But theoretically, that could, if you could make it long enough, that could theoretically be one of the most secure ways to do it. But I'll continue because this is kind of the main point of this article. He's talking about why he's even releasing it. Why would he put something like this out there? In computer security, there's a concept known as responsible disclosure. The idea is that if someone like me discovers a bug, they make a good faith effort to get the bug fixed before sharing it with the world. I've done this in the past, and I think it's generally the right approach. Sometimes, as in the current situation, there's just no getting the bug fixed, or it's already being exploited. In such a case, the best thing to do is let everyone know so they can take appropriate steps to protect themselves. Do you guys agree with that philosophy? I think I do, but I don't know. Any thoughts? Just, if you find a bug, you should report it so that they can fix it. And obviously, just as a decent human being, you shouldn't exploit it, right?
Yeah. You mean, yeah. I was going to say exploit it for personal gain, but then exploiting something, then doesn't exploiting something mean you're getting something out of it?
Yeah, I mean,
wow,
at least you're trying to. I mean, why would you do it if you weren't?
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of talked about this last week, just thinking about maybe 2 weeks ago. But yeah, just thinking about if you found a bug in Bitcoin, is it theoretically okay for you to exploit it because it's open source and so anybody should have known that that bug was there? Theoretically, maybe, but just why would you? Don't be that guy. So the best way is to just, hey guys, this is what's going on. Well, in most cases, you're reporting the bug not to the public, but to a service. Like if I found a bug in my online banking software, say, where I could steal everybody's money, I wouldn't necessarily have to tell the public, but I would want to tell my bank so that they could fix it. In this case, there is no, and this is the classic decentralization, right? There is no bank to go to. There is nobody who, well, I mean, it's not even about Bitcoin. It's about brain wallets, right? I mean, if it was about Bitcoin, you could go to some of the core devs and try to keep it private maybe so that other people wouldn't know how to exploit it. But it's not even so much about that as a brain wallet. It's just the nature of brain wallets. Once you create a brain wallet, there's not really any way to stop it from being guessed, right? All it is a phrase or letters and numbers. You can't patch that. It is what it is, and there's no fixing it, right? Except by getting your money out. And that's what he wants people to do. Is that make sense?
Yeah. I guess also the assumption that's being made is that if somebody figured it out, somebody else has probably or could possibly have already figured it out. And in a lot of these types of things, it tends to be people who are trying to exploit it that find things. That's why, like, what's that movie, Catch Me If You Can? That guy who, like, stole all this money and then he gets hired by a bank or whatever to help improve their security. And I heard a story recently that there's some woman who works at Google who is, like, some crazy hacker, and they hired her because she was really good at breaking stuff. So I guess, like, if somebody like this doesn't get it out there, the next person who finds it might be someone who's just going to use it to exploit somebody. So it might be better to just have it out in the open.
Yeah, exactly. And he, like he said, there are already people cracking them, and they just don't know how strong those are, but he thinks his is a lot more powerful. And yeah, it's just like that. There's people doing it, and so he wants to help people by letting them know that this can happen. So I think I might as well finish up this article because there's only one more paragraph, and he touches on some of the advice. Like I was asking, how would you make a secure password? He kind of touches on that. So if you're using a brain wallet, move your coins now. That's all in bold, and the word now is in all caps. So today's full of grammar, I guess. Your passphrase is not as strong as you think it is. Don't think you're safe because you use some other cryptocurrency. The same tools and techniques work just as well against them. I recommend a BIP38 paper wallet with a passphrase generated using Diceware with at least 8 words. And I looked a little bit into Diceware, and it's basically where you literally roll dice. It's not quite a number generator. It's actually a list of words that's just it's in alphabetical order, I guess it looks like. So it's not, it doesn't matter what order the words are in, but they also have numbers next to them with the digits 1 through 6. So you can literally roll dice, which is extremely random, basically the best we can get. And then from those numbers, you can find words and select those words, which I like that idea. That's another thing that I've wanted to do for a long time, is make an actual truly random wallet with dice. I've seen tools like that out there, and I think it's a cool idea, but that's one of his recommendations. And then he says, if you must use something that is purely in your brain, look into Warp Wallet, but use it with a salt and a Diceware password, again, at least 8 words. And salt is just another way to get extra randomness. Human brains are too predictable. If you're using a password or a passphrase that has been used for a brain wallet anywhere else, change it. I'll be posting again soon about my work on passphrase schemes designed for human memory. So that's the whole article. And I like his ideas. Like I said, I've always wanted to do the dice thing, and there are ways to make it more memorable, I guess. Any thoughts, guys? Let's say somebody gave you $1 million in Bitcoin, and you didn't want to sell it right away, or you couldn't sell it right away or spend it. How would you store it? What do you think are the best ways?
I mean, I only know what people tell me. I don't know nearly enough to be able to figure something out like that on my own. My initial thought would have been a paper wallet.
Yeah, and I generally agree. It mostly just depends how you create the paper wallet. But we've got the mycelium entropy.
Yeah, I would have wanted that. I should have mentioned that.
Yeah, and that's one of the best things I can think of because, again, this is just what they tell me, but it should be random enough to be secure. I mean, it takes in like temperature and pressure and everything and all kinds of random stuff in order to create your wallet. And yeah, that should be pretty random, pretty secure. The harder part then is backing it up, because if you just make one paper copy and put it somewhere, that could get stolen or it could get burnt in a house fire or something. So that's more what I'd be worried about is how many copies do I make? Who do I give them to, or where do I put them? Stuff like that. And then you get into multi-sig, which would be another option, but
yeah, I'd also not put $1 million on one paper wallet.
Yeah, that's a good call. Good call. Cool. Yeah, that's been one of the long-standing issues, not issues, but difficulties with Bitcoin is just securing it. It's been around for however many years, but securing it is still a task, and it's something that's always being worked on, and hopefully they can find more and better ways. But in the meantime, just research this stuff, do the best you can, and don't use a brain wallet. Well, at least not a short one, right? I mean, go with
the Odyssey.
At least 8 words, maybe 800,000 words if you can handle it. Thanks for listening to episode 85. All of the music in today's show was from John Stuart. Remember to check out this week's show notes at youmeandbtc.com and leave us a comment. We'll see you next Thursday.